Hello, this is Logan Murphy, and today we will be inserting a user into our database. So what we're going to do is create a function that will do that process for us. This function will return an int, which will be actually long, which will be the user ID that we just inserted, and we'll call this insert user. In order to insert a user, we need a connection, email, password, and a birthday. Okay, now this kind of lost its place, so let's put it where it belongs. Save it. And we're gonna come up here and include that java.sql.star. Save it. And we're gonna come down here, and now we've imported two date classes, so we have to specify that this is java.util.date. Date. And that should be a dot. This will also be java.util.date. This is only because we're importing two classes with the exact same name, so we have to specify which one we are interested in. Okay, so we've done that. We're going to do a giant try catch. And we're going to start off with a long ID equals -1. Now, -1, as you may know, when we have an auto increment field, you can never have a negative number. So if this ever returns a negative number, it means that this function failed at inserting a user. So what we're going to do is prepared statement, call it PS, and we're going to call C's prepare statement function, which will insert into user's email, password, birthday, values, question. Okay, so that'll be our prepared statement, and we will ps.set string 1, and that'll be email. ps.set string 2, and that will be password. And ps.set string 3, and we're going to use our simple date format up here. Use it the exact same way down here. Format. And this should be set date. Just make sure that's correct. So the problem is that this is expecting a SQL date, so we have to use .sql.date d equals new Java SQL date. Oops. And as an argument, we'll take this whole thing dot look for get time. Put that in there as an argument. And for here, we'll put d. So when we create the date, then we create the date format, then we parse the birthday, then we get the time since epoch. We take that time since epoch, put it into this due date, and it ends up being a SQL date instead of a regular util date. And we set the date here, and we'll do ps.execute, something that we didn't do, statement dot return generated keys. Now this is how we get the ID of the user we're inserting. So we need to get result set, or s equals ps dot get generated keys if rs.next id equals rs.getLong1, and that'll be it. That'll be what our function is. So before we are done, we should close the prepare statement. Before that, we should close the result set just to clear up any data. So we'll get rid of that. Come down to here. We're still having this problem. Put that here. Okay, so we'll come back up to here. This is where we consider all of our input to be good. So we should get a connection, and we're going to use our MySQL classes connect function. And then if C is not equal to null, make sure we actually connected. At that point, we're going to insert user. And that takes a connection, an email, password, and a birthday. And that'll give us a long ID. Then we'll see if ID is not equal to -1. Then we'll take the session object dot set attribute, and we made a constant for this. I believe it's in the template, so we'll do template dot, and we call it user ID, and this will be the value ID. Else, this is actually going to be an email error. The only way that this function could fail is if the email is not unique. So that's an email error. So we'll just say that email is already in use. Okay, so we'll save it, format it. Come down here, and it's still doing this. Come down here. Everything seems to be fine. So what we're going to do is save it and right click it, and we will run on server, finish. Okay, we're going to restart the server now. Let's run this in the browser. Okay, so we're here. I'm going to just use my email. Submit. So it says that this email is already in use. Now we can always look at our database and see if that is in fact true. So just right click this, edit table data, and it's not true. So what we should do is come back here, make sure everything we wrote here is correct. Now something that could be helpful is debugging. I don't think we're going to need it. So let's look at this function. So get long. So column index. First column is 1. Okay. Okay. So ID. So what we're going to do is, maybe we're doing something wrong. So we'll throw a new error here. E. And we're just going to see if everything. This shouldn't be an exception unless there is a copy somewhere. So we should make sure that we catch any errors. So come back to Firefox, refresh, and we see that we're getting an error now. It says shop users doesn't exist, so I'm probably calling it by the wrong name. So it's just user. So that's the problem. So we're going to come up here just call this user, save it, refresh. Now saying unknown column